I'm Kayla Mulcahy.
I'm Skyler Ray, and we are with Jim Bonus across the street.
No more looking through the window, no more darkness, no more fear. No more looking through the window, I'm right here.
But life wasn't always like that. I remember being locked up and no one would write back. Got out, got high, and came right back. I was trapped in a cycle. There's a reason why I wrote Psycho, and I've been on it ever since.
Oh, we're gonna roll it. Here we are.
All right.
So, welcome to the show, everybody.
Welcome,
Kayla,
welcome,
Skyler,
welcome.
thank you guys for showing up. I brought you a gift.
Hey!
If you watch the show enough, you know I try to get everybody high as hell, but
Hey, I'll take it.
bam, fire away. I got also.
I love my
I want to
Razzles for
test.
you.
I'm gonna test y'all. Oops.
Oh, you're good.
Okay, we're spilling stuff right.
Reflexes.
This is
Testing
great.
reflexes.
See, we're
Cat
getting
reflexes.
wild on the show. We'll test your skills today. I brought some fixins also for y'all to make some Kool-Aid.
Who's gonna make
So-
Kool-Aid?
Let's get
Dude,
it.
orange is my favorite, man.
You know how to make it?
I brought my
Watermelon?
2 favorite flavors, the cherry and the watermelon.
So we got it.
Nice.
Now it's a test.
It's
huh?
like a
Nice.
taste test almost.
This
at
is
this
to
point.
see if we're invited to the barbecue.
Close,
Oh!
close.
I'll take the Mike and Ike's, honey. You handle that,
There's
okay?
even
So-
random stuff in here. Like if you think like for people
might
that
need it.
make Kool-Aid, this is like
Yeah.
you don't use this stupid thing. But
I popped this open. Can I have some Mike and Ike's?
fire away, bro. That's what they're there for.
I got you some as well.
Got a gift for
I
me
got you some.
too?
Yes, yes,
No
yes.
way.
Yep.
That's like
Well-
2 days in a row.
You said that you were tall section, so I had to get something for your son.
Yeah.
So we got a large Skyler Ray shirt.
Shout out to homie. That's
Uh-huh.
perfect. Thanks, Skyler. Thanks, Kayla. Sid will love that. Sid's my little model, so
Yes,
Aw.
yes, yes.
he's got
And
the.
I got you guys both some signed albums. of our newest
Oh, we
album.
got some side. Oh, yay! Look at that. Bingo.
And no pressure, but if you're able to make it, August
Which one is
27th,
that?
you don't have to come work. You come enjoy yourself.
Which one is that?
Album release party with my album release party with King Handsome flying in from the East Coast, and then also we might have another guest coming in from Indiana.
I connected with King Hansen. We became friends on Facebook recently.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah.
We wanted to talk about. We'll talk about it later, but
sure.
set up an
Yeah.
interview.
No, this is great. Yeah. Thank you so much, man. I'm loving the vibe here. Everybody's coming through.
I'm
So,
in the vibe too. Mike and Ike.
all right. Well, let's get to your Kool-Aid making, and while you're doing that, I'll ask you some questions.
All right.
First one is this. First of all, you guys are a couple. You guys have been together for I don't know how long, but
Over 2 years.
over 2 years.
Yeah, yeah.
And in the Portland scene, we all see that, of course, how close you guys work together. I was always kind of curious. You know, I've been in relationships, of course, but never in creative relationships. How do you guys balance that, the life and the music together? Is it?
It's almost all.
It's a challenge. It ends up being
All
mostly
music.
work. Mostly work, and then we try to take vacations where we do like less work but still work. I think it's hard. I think sometimes we're both workaholics. And so we just are like, oh, what about this idea? Okay, well, let me talk to this person. Okay, well, those are a lot of our conversations, so that ends up
I'm gonna get those back.
taking up a lot of our time.
I don't worry about it. Just let him ride. Let him ride.
Let him ride?
Yeah, that'll be good.
All right, well, sprinter.
A little
huh?
frosty.
Yeah, that'll be all right.
Yeah.
Is that how you take it the same way, Skyler?
Yeah, I would say it's. I think it's mostly all music, and it's really cool when you have someone else that you can create with, because I think that's the only way I think a relationship would work, especially with me, because I become so developed by music, and that is like my true passion. I'm obsessed with it, and that's all I do from the morning I get up to the morning I go to bed. So I think it's great that I have someone to chase my dreams with. And I think it works that we're both, she'd be doing this if I wasn't doing it, I'd be doing it if she wasn't doing it. So the fact that we had to come together and she helps me so much with it, I think it's great. We do try to go have some fun. Like last year we had 11 different states. This year we did a month in Hawaii. And then when we were in Hawaii, we booked Miami. Then we went to like Florida Keys and we went on tour. We try to do fun things and spice things up and go on little dates and, you know, have a little me time, whether it's just, you know, falling asleep in the sun on the grass together, you know. We try to do some fun things, but it's a lot. I would say mostly music.
Yeah.
I would say probably at least a
Yeah.
60-40, if not 75-25.
Yeah.
So.
And I've been in creative relationships before that haven't worked. So I think it's nice to be in one that actually feels good.
It feels right.
Yeah.
I got a chance to go through some of your music, of course, and some of the videos that you guys have worked on. I think the one that kind of bleeds the both of you, if I'm being honest, is the song called "The Journey." Great visual work by yourself.
Thank you.
You made the videos. I see your creative path there. It's really cool. And
Thank you.
and Skyler, you opened yourself up pretty big on the song there, letting people know that.
Yeah, and I think it's I really like that song. That's probably a lot of sugar, but it's okay because this is how we are
For
doing
like
it.
for us or for
Check it out.
kids?
It's a taste test. It's like
It's a
this is
taste
how you
test.
make Kool-Aid. There's like in families, there's some people you send in the kitchen to make Kool-Aid, and there's some people you don't.
We're about to find out which one I am. But yeah, no, The
Uh.
Journey, I really like that song because it speaks a lot on like what I've been through and what it took to get here, and I think it really shows in depth the the struggle of like addiction and like sleeping in the doorways, and I have the mug shots in the back, so you can see that life isn't always the way it is when a lot of people like to glorify selling dope. I'm selling dope and this and this. Okay, but what's the other side of it? I was selling dope, but I was also using, and as you've seen all the mug shots, as you've seen all that, like there's a lot of ugly that goes with it, and it's not sustainable, and it's not something that you could retire off of or longevity. So I think I always try to be realistic with my music, and try to give a point of view like, hey, this is where I come from and this is where you can be. So I try to inspire at the same time. If that makes sense. So, and then she slays the hooks. That was the first video we actually made our own sets.
Yeah.
So it was.
We
Yeah, it was
worked really
great.
hard
You had
to
a couple
try to-
really nice ones with you in the dress at the end there. With the very nice, very well done.
Yeah,
Thank you,
we
thank
really
you.
tried to do
How
something.
how does that start with you guys? That'd be another question I got for you. Like, how does the creative process even start with you guys? Is it Skyler coming to you, or you coming to Skyler? Is it
Both.
It's both, yeah. A lot of times, like, we'll try to pick something. Like, one thing that we do sometimes when we do take time for ourselves is, like, go through beat packs or, like, try to, like, go back to that part. Like, listen to all these things and see, like, this is the thing that inspires us the most. Or, oh, like, I can really hear this. And then we'll go into the studio and, like, just sit with it and play with it. And try to make
there's
something
times
out of
she
it.
comes up with stuff, and there's times I come up with stuff. Like, for example, Heartbeat, which a lot of people love. We were laying in bed, and
He thought I went to sleep, and
I thought I went to sleep, and she got up, and it was random because the lights were out. We had our nighttime movie on. We always fall asleep to a movie, right? And she got up and started writing stuff, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Oh, nothing." And I'm like, "Well, what are you doing? You're just standing over there, just standing up, like randomly, like an hour after we've been laying down." And next day we're in the studio, and she's like, "Oh, this is what I did the other night," and it was Heartbeat. Which is really cool. And then there's times where like I'll hear beats and I'll be like, come in there and be like, I got this melody, but I can't sing. So I need you on this. And so that's how that kind of comes together. I would say it's a real good split. She's beyond talented. She has a background in opera.
Yeah.
She understands so much stuff that.
Tell us about that. What's your background in opera? How'd you come across that?
That's kind of how. Well, I've always loved singing, and I used to love like Mariah Carey growing up, and like lock myself in my room like with my hairbrush, like So I never really thought about making anything out of it. I went to college and I was like taking photos a lot. I really liked photography, and then when I went to college, my high school boyfriend at the time, he played upright bass, and he kind of got a scholarship through the school that we were going to, and I was like, well, I'm gonna learn, to play cello, and so I decided to play cello, and then I ended up actually meeting this girl, and she was studying voice with this teacher, and she convinced me, we kind of like, I started studying with him, and then it just really took off, and I was like, oh, I really love singing, like, enough beating around the bush, like, with all these other instruments and all these other things, like, I can really make music something, so I started studying opera with him, and I really, really loved it, and I mean, it's so cool to learn to make your voice, like, fill a whole auditorium, and, yeah, and I loved the stories, so, yeah, I started doing that, and then when COVID happened, when
He's losing the first round of the ice bag.
No. It's right here. Jimbo, we don't lose. We win. We don't. Keep going, baby. We're going to make this work.
Yes, when COVID started, we were kind of, like everybody, sort of locked in the house, and I don't know, I always listened to, like, hip-hop or R&B, and I've studied opera, but listened to that, and we kind of started playing around in the studio, and that's really where this has started for me. like in the last year and a half or two.
We just pouring it in, right?
Bro, you make
You just
Kool-Aid,
doing what
bro.
you just doing what
You
you-
make Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Alright, there we go. Hold on. We make it cool. Keep going, baby. We win it. Hold on.
Yeah. So that's where I started. That's opera's my background, and I'm excited to bring that to.
Well, that's
what
cool. If
we're
you're a big
musically
fan of
making now.
Mariah and you liked opera, I could see how that all turned into Kayla. So
Yeah,
that
yeah.
totally makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
She's beyond talented. And I'll tell you what, like, if you've listened to anything of mine, like, more than 2 years ago, it's cringeworthy for me. I've been doing music for so long. The first 4 years, I've learned, the first 4 years of rapping, I've been doing it since, like, 12 years old, right? The first 4 years, I didn't even know what rapping on beat was. Everybody's like, it's off beat. And I was like, it just sound weird because I'm not professional. I was like 12 years old, 13 years old, you know?
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, like, I was like, oh, somebody's like, it's between the claps. I'm like, oh, okay. And so that's how I rap for, like, most of my career. Most of my music, you know? And then I realized the last 2 years what it was actually meant to, like, ride the beat and be inside the pocket. And that's where she's helped because she's like, it's on beat, but it's not. And I was like, that doesn't make no sense. If it's on beat, it's on beat. It's not off beat. She's like, well,
Well, I was like, is it on the is it on the one? Is it on the two?
That's actually one of my questions. Is it hard to be honest with each other about your music? I've been in groups and been in around enough musicians to know that sometimes patting your friend on the back and saying that's great isn't always the best thing. And
It's not.
do you guys do that with each other? or
Dude,
is
it
there...
was rough. At first,
Well, there's been some tension because she'll call it how it is, and I get so frustrated. She'll tell me how like this needs to be like this, and I'll do it, and she's like, no, and I'm like, that's exactly how you said it.
Yeah.
She's like, no, it's not. Listen.
He would be like, oh, hey, what do you think of this track? And I'd be like, oh, like it's all right. Like at first I was like, oh, it's like okay. He's like, well, what do you mean it's okay? Like, don't lie to me. I'm like, well, it's kind of off, you know. It's like you could do it here, you could do it there, and he's like, oh. He's like, what does that mean? I don't understand. And then he would get like super
I get
frustrated and be like, I
frustrated.
just spent like 2 hours recording this. And I'd be like, I'm sorry. It's just that it's not right though.
These
And
are
we'd get
things
arguments.
that groups and like it's common that you have to have these conversations. So being in a relationship, I can't imagine like having those conversations and then saying suddenly it's dinner time.
Yeah, right.
You know, like
Oh, yeah, well, like, you're sleeping on the floor
There's been
tonight.
times where, like, and I remember it would all started coming together. I started finding the pocket. It was a song I did with Dale Downer, Window, and I sent him a verse, and he was like, if you're happy with it, I'm happy with it, but I think you can do better. And so I was like, okay. So I go back and I'm gonna do it, and I told her, I'm like, babe, he said I can do better. Like, I think I can. I want to make something real nice. So I start writing, and I like try to like, that's when I first started kind of rapping a little bit faster and chopping a little bit, you know? And then she comes over and is like, that's not it. And so I'm like, what do you mean? So she like,
That's
goes
probably
to
like
help me.
the worst one.
The worst of it.
Yeah.
So like she goes to help me, and imagine like I've already been defeated by Downer saying that, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna get in there, I'm gonna work on it. I work on this thing for hours and hours all night because the situation I lived in at the time, we couldn't record all the time.
Studio, so it was,
Yeah, and
it was
before we
like,
lived together,
your roommate's
too.
gonna come home and he's gonna make a bunch of noise. We won't be able to record. And so then I was like, this doesn't work. And he was like,
For like 3 nights in a row. So like I
Yeah.
record some, work on it all night. She comes over and I'm stoked. I'm like, babe, check this out. Like this, look at this. And she's like, nah, that's not it. So then she goes to help me with it, and then we get so frustrated we just had to stop. We're like, all right,
Yeah.
we're stopping right now. And then she goes, and then like the next day I work on it all day. She comes back by and she's like, that's still off. And I'm like, oh my God, like I almost cried. Like it was so hard, but I'm glad because she made me step out my comfort zone. Like I got so frustrated because you start self-doubt and you're like, how am I giving it my all and I just can't do it? I'm not understanding. But because I think that was the moment that I always remember how I felt so defeated, but yet I came to it and I accomplished it. And since then, I've learned techniques and things that have stuck with me since that.
Well, and we've also like had a lot of conversations about like, hey, this is your music and this is what you're doing and this is our relationship. So I'm not attacking you personally if I'm trying to say like, hey, this is a little off. That doesn't mean like you're garbage. It just means like all you got to do is fix it, and this is what we're going to have to do forever. So like you can't just let things go because you don't want to do the work to fix them. And that has to be, like, as long as we understand where we're coming from, which we've gotten a lot better at. Like, now I can say it, and he's like, ugh, okay. Whereas, you know, instead of us, like, arguing. So
Yeah,
it's
that can be
it's
tough.
a
That's
work.
why I asked that question, because business partners alone is hard to deal with, but at the end of the
Yeah.
night, a business partner can go
Go
home.
separate, yeah.
Yeah.
But you guys have to go crawl on the same
She's-
day with one
Well, what would
another.
you
I
go
think-
home and you'd dump to your partner, right? It's
Yeah.
like, I can't stand the guy I was working with today. You're like, baby, that was me. Ah, shit.
I think it's crazy because there's nothing that I really heard of Kayla's that every time she I've worked with numerous big names. I've been in the studio with big names. I worked on tracks with big names. She is by far, and I say this all the time, the most talented artist I have ever worked with. I have everything she writes and lays down is just. I've always been blown away. Every time she sings, I'm like, oh my god, on the track or lays something down. So I've never had to correct
I feel
her
like
on
you
anything.
have corrected me, been like, that sounds like you could do this sound. I feel like you've done
Maybe,
that kind of stuff.
maybe. But it's but for me, as frustrating as it is to be pushed, and I know it's for the better, and I think at the end of the day, it makes me a better artist. I know if she's correcting me, I know most of the time she's right, 100%, because she's telling me to do something, and I don't want to do it because I don't want to step out my comfort zone. I think I can't do it, but I promise you, the artist that I've developed in the last year and a half is a complete 180 difference, and that's because of her.
I got to spend yesterday with Rajim for a little bit. We hung out and did a show, and he said he just left your place a couple days prior or something, doing some work over there.
Yesterday?
Yesterday, yeah.
Anthony, Mr. Rivera, he got the shirt on there today.
He was
Yeah.
rocking my shirt on the show, so I had to rock his shirt.
He recorded some stuff with you too, the Lost One song. Pretty nice work, man. You're starting to get really good at that, Skyler.
Thank you.
I will say I give Skyler, I'll give you one credit for one thing that I hands down best in town, and I'll argue with anybody. If you even fart near a Skyler Ray post, he will like it, thumbs up, send you a personal message, a ticket to his show, 3 links, and a great Hallmark card in the mail. He's really good at interacting and being back and forth with the social media stuff. By far the best in town, I can't say.
Thank you.
I think another good question here is, can you tell me about a moment when your counterpart has made you proud? Has made you feel maybe when you're on stage and he's not, or vice versa, where you just felt wow, this is really happening, and have you had that moment yet where it's just
I feel like we've had a few of those moments when, I mean, even if you talk about giving feedback, probably privately, sometimes if I say something and it works really well, and not only he'll fix it, but he'll also do this other thing that's really great on top of it, then I'm like, wow, I couldn't have thought of that. And or I'm trying to, even recently we've been in shows trying to bring down the backs of our music and really be naked up there without the backing track, so
Good
that
for
we're
you.
Which is all new for me.
Good for you.
Over my entire career, I've always had it. And
yeah, and this is something, even our last show, that I was, because he's always I have a bad memory because I used to use and whatever, and I'm like, no, it's not something you can't fix. You can work on it, you can get better at it.
Right.
And this last show, he was going through songs and killing it and getting all the stuff, and it's you miss a word here because you need a breath or whatever, and even then I was like, hey, I'm really proud of you, because this is something a year ago you never would have done.
Never,
You would have
never.
been no way, can't do it, and then you went up and you did it.
been doing something 15, 16 years the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's
I was like, your songs.
Well, there's old guys out there like me, man, and
That go hard on
we love the microphone in your face, man.
it's such a different, even in the last show, I was
is.
it makes such a huge difference when you're up
And I
and
feel
the
good.
audience hears your voice.
'cause
That's
we
what
went
they
on
came
tour.
for.
Yeah, when we went on tour, we started lowering the back ends and lowered it some more, and then the next show with Dice and stuff lowered it, and then when Dice came here, we lowered it some more. So it's we're getting even,
Yeah.
and I feel more confident. I feel better now.
I like it, and when you're up on stage, you can really play with it, and you hear how the audience is reacting. If you want to bring it out more, if you want to do this.
Sounds great.
I watched the Wake 'em Up video that looks like you guys just put out recently.
Yeah.
It's a cool intro style short. That would be a good one to do live. I feel like it's just short
Yeah.
enough attention span for people to want to hear it and then be like, right, next one, So,
Yeah. Yeah.
cool visuals too. You did those
Thank
ones.
you.
Yeah,
Thank
dude,
you.
very nice.
Thank
Trying to
you.
learn as much as I can. It's a new thing for me, and so it's really.
I'm right there with you. I've only had a camera a couple years, and I've taken full
Yeah.
advantage of inundating myself.
Yeah, the
with
video
it.
you did with Vaughn and Anthony was really cool.
Dope.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a fun day.
Yeah,
too.
I
That
think
was a fun day.
going back to the question though, of moments she makes me proud is when she steps out of her comfort zone. and like the performing, and because she's more calculated and precise, and it's funny because her strengths are my weaknesses and my strengths are her weaknesses, and so I think it's a really good 1-2 counter punch. I'm such a honey badger. You want to drink this?
How are you doing on that, by the way?
I think I'm done. Let's
He
try
served
Let's
it. I
try
think the ice is even melted.
Are we gonna check it out?
We gotta check it out.
All right, cheers. Here we go.
Cheers.
Let's see what.
Hey,
Let's see what
I haven't made
Skyler's
Kool-Aid
made.
since forever, so we're gonna find out.
Muscle memory.
Muscle memory. I just dumped random. That's sour as shit.
Yeah, more sugar.
More sugar.
He made the adult version of Kool-Aid.
Did you put both packets in there?
Yeah. Were you not supposed to?
He put both packets
He
in there.
put both packets of Kool-Aid in there. I thought that happened, but I was like, nah, he didn't do that.
I didn't know what you're supposed to do.
It's competition.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, well then this is good. He good. He likes it.
I didn't get a chance to show you up.
Oh, we were having a competition.
Yeah, it's a competition.
Oh.
He's like, I'm a honey badger. I just did it all.
There's gonna be another.
Well, this is what
This is gonna be against the second half of this is gonna be
Yeah.
Tripolar and Lady X.
I feel like Tripolar could whip up some shit. Yeah.
Some good.
He got kids.
You might. Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, so does she though.
Yeah.
You don't know. She might have some hidden skills.
So that was the taste tester. I got it. I won't grade until the end.
Oh no.
You,
Can I adjust it a little bit?
you can do what you want. That's what I'm saying. It's your Kool-Aid.
Okay,
There's certain people you send to make Kool-Aid in the kitchen. And
This guy.
I don't know if it's
But
you.
look,
Yeah.
but look. So we were sitting there, right? And but like what I was saying is she like helps it out. Like so she is like more silent killer, like laid back, calculated, precise. I'm very much like out there, let's get it. And sometimes I move too fast, as you see. But I've been proud of her because when I'm out running the show and hosting and running around, she's back there and I've seen like merch sales go up. She knows how to handle all that. She's getting better at like talking to people and
No,
and
she's great. I
and
saw it at the
networking.
Mystery Bar. You working out there, and making sales and stuff, and yeah.
And stepping out.
It's such
and
a different
performing and
environment
stuff.
because
She
like
kills
opera,
it.
it's like you're back in your dressing room and you've got your dress on and then you walk outside on your stage and then you sing for 45 minutes and then you walk back and then when you come out people give you flowers and then you go home. But it's never that same level. This is like you're really in there with everybody, And so I've had to learn to be less like
Yeah, I can see it.
in my shell.
I can see it. Yeah, because it's a hip hop show. It's not an opera.
It's
event.
not opera, yeah.
I'll
So it's different
remember to bring
environment.
flowers next time. though.
Yeah. But I'm proud of her stepping out of her shell. She's been doing it, and and not only that, but she's been succeeding. Like it's so hard to find a counterpartner that you can trust. That's why I'm such a solo artist and don't like working with people. I like keeping to myself and just working because so many people let you down. So many people you can't trust. I don't trust people with my money, and it's nice to be able to have her do it because she's doing it. And it's like I know whatever she has in her pocket, that's what she made.
We're coming down to the end here. We got about 5 minutes left, and I want to squeeze in some of the Portland stuff that I think is important to you guys. One of the questions I've been asking everybody is, what has Portland hip hop done for you? Individually or as a couple or whatever it may be. What has it done for you, Kayla?
It's really cool to have that experience of like community. Like, we've even like dropped in on some of the like meeting of the mind stuff. Mm-hmm. It's really cool to see the way that everybody wants to work together and like wants to get to know each other. And I think that's been really nice, especially someone who's used to not really meeting a lot of people. I really like being able to like see how talented other people are.
We gonna give him a refill.
And how much. And how much everybody wants to really come together. I really think that's cool, and it's a nice environment to be creative in.
I gave that compliment to Anthony. I can include you guys in that. And, creating a safe space for people in recovery to come and hang out in a bar and feel comfortable with that. And I think Anthony said it the best. People in recovery deserve a good time too.
They do.
So,
Portland hip hop has done a lot for me. First of all, let's get one more drink. Let's try this. This is what we're being graded on.
This is the edited version.
round, yeah.
We're being graded on.
Let's see what we got here.
But Portland hip hop community has done a lot for me. Not only have they embraced me, but they pushed me. There's so many talented artists out there, and every day I'm inspired by someone else's hustle, someone else's work ethic, someone else's dope ass record, and so for them it's made me a better artist. I love it. I love it. I love what Portland has to offer. I think we have so many talented artists. So that's what Portland hip hop's community has done for me.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then in closing, here we go.
All right.
Anything you want to say to the city of Portland? Any shout outs? Make sure you get your shout outs in.
I got you. So, shout out to my man, Anthony Rivera. He is a fellow brother of mine in recovery, talented musician. And so this is what we're going to be doing. Anybody who watches Jimbo's across the street, watches this episode, right? If you go to my website, officialskylerray.com, and buy a ticket to the August show, August 27th, and enter promo code Rivera, Rivera, during checkout. Not only will you save $5 on the show, but all of those tickets sold using that promo code, we will donate to Anthony. He recently lost his place in a house fire and all of his stuff, so we supporting each other in the hip-hop community.
Anthony.
Shout out to Anthony Rivera. Shout out to everybody. I love you guys.
Yeah?
Yep.
So we say
All right.
thank you. Yeah.
Let's try it again. I'm going to try it one more time. Let's
Yes,
give
sir.
the Skyler Ray Kool-Aid a 10. So give me your recipe one more time.
Okay, recipe one more time. So this is what we got. We got both packets because we can't decide and we didn't know what it was, okay? Right here, we got the cherry, we got the watermelon.
Cherry
Dump
and
it in,
watermelon.
right? You fill it up to about right here in water. You put some ice in it and you dump an unregulated amount of sugar in it until you get a thumbs up. That is my recipe for Kool-Aid.
You heard it.
Let's go, baby, let's go.
Well, I'd like to thank you guys for joining me. Thank you so much for showing up at the show. Really appreciate
for
what
having
y'all do. Big fans.
Yeah, thank
Take
you, my
care.
man.
Love y'all. Cheers.
Love you too. Cheers.